Sick. How cool is that? Howdy, my name's Workshop Lewis, and I know in the previous episode we were dealing with the tailgate, but I need to try and find another VU, VY, or VZ tailgate for the internal latching mechanism. I've used one, but I need another, so we can't go on with that again straight away. We've got the brake caliper brackets that we've had machined up by Solid Engineering. I've got some new rotors, and I've got a 17-inch rim that I think is going to fit. So we're going to start with the brakes. If we can get it all bolted on, we might be able to go get some braided lines made up, and we can kind of start buttoning up all of the brakes. In the previous episode, I gave an update, and I'm going to address some of the things that came up in that update later on in this episode. Right now, I think we just take the wheels off, put the new rotors on, get the calipers made up so we can get a length for the brake lines. Sick. That'd be a little better. Looks really good. It's all working. Let me check the handbrake. Yes. Okay, so now I am going to put one wheel on before I put my wheel on. There's a small chance that a 17-inch rim is going to fit over this. I've already tested it just like roughly by sitting it in there, and it looked like it was going to fit. If this kit can fit over 17s, I think there's going to be a lot more people interested in them because not everyone wants like 18 or 19-inch rims on their E30. So let's bolt up this rim and see if there's clearance for it. Sick. Just need to turn the handbrake off, and then we can see if this spins and has clearance. No, it just doesn't clear. Dang it. Oh. I reckon if you put like a 5mm spacer on it, which is illegal in Australia, but if you were using this for like drifting, rally, racing of any kind, you could probably put a 5mm spacer on there and then bump the wheel out, and I reckon you would just have clearance. So almost, but not quite. So these are a Style 66. There is quite a bit of clearance on these, and like there's movement, but there's just, it's definitely scraping, sadly. I'll take these off, put my wheel back on, and then we can do the other side, but I'll do that off camera. Sick. Sick. How cool is that? Nice. Okay. And there is a gigantic amount of clearance. So I'm not sure what the Style 66 have for clearance. I thought it was pretty good. I think what it means is 19s obviously fit. 18s, unless they have a really bad clearance issues, probably fit as well. 17s would be questionable depending on each wheel. But I can make a brake clearance template that can be replicated or printed off, and then you'll be able to test it inside a 17 or an 18 just to confirm that you have clearance before you purchase the kit. Sick. So we've done this side, all bolted up really nicely. So before we bolt this bracket onto the chassis, we need to get the lines made up. So I can take this whole assembly over to South Glenelg. Trevor can have a look at it. It looks like I've thrown out that little piece that I made sure that I wouldn't throw out. I threw it out. So I'm going to have to make a little bracket that then holds this in the right spot, and we can work out what braided line we need to make up for both sides. So I'm just at South Glenelg, and we're working out the brake lines. We've worked out what fitting we need here, what fitting we need here, I've had a look, so this one doesn't have the dust shield that I've made, but we want to try and get it so that the retainer bit on the dust shield's in the same spot. So if you're doing this in the future, you can still use the line retainer in its factory position and just like cut your dust shield. So I think it's in about that position above the corner. So around there, we can get a measurement from one side to another. It's from this line here to this line here, and then give it a little bit of excess. And we'll come back when we've got the line made up. That looks pretty good, so we should just be able to crimp this up and send it. If you're in South Australia and you need braided lines, custom lines, come down and have a chat with Trev at South Glenelg Brake Services. Good dude. We have the brake lines, and we've got to make the little brackets that hold these to the fixed line. I'm really annoyed with myself because I put them all aside because I knew I needed them, and I've still thrown them out. So we've got some sheet steel. I'm going to put a picture of what they look like up now, and I'm going to try and replicate them as much as I can, so there's still like an OEM look to them. But let's make 2 of them so we can rivet them to the M140i outer, and then from there, that's the last thing I need to do on the outers, so I can clean them up and get them painted and make them look pretty. Why did I throw them out? Damn it. Put a little folds on them, or gussets. And there's one more feature that I noticed on the photo that I showed you, and this is pressed out a little bit. We're going to slide that through there, slide that through there, and then we're going to put that in the vise and just give it a little bit of a feature. That didn't work. I'm just not happy with that. I think I'm going to flatten it out and forget about it. I'm going to go next door, fold these up, bracket, brake line, spring loader. So that goes in there. These little details then keep that in place, and then we can get the swivel nut through here. So let's jack the car up, get these set, so then we can mark out where on the M140i dust shield outer we need to drill and rivet and make this thing not look as square. Hard brake line, little clips, brand new. Gonna chuck these on, take the other brake lines that I tried to get electroplated, but it didn't turn out too well. I'm gonna remake them so they don't look pretty, but they will be brand new in the end, along with these little bad boys. Okay, I've had to redo some things. Here's the bracket, and you'll notice that detail that I couldn't get in, I've put it in, and I actually need to put it in. I've started again. I've gotten a little bit of it done already, but I've worked out how to do this little kind of detail, and I want to go through it so it makes sense to you guys, because I don't think the factory version on the dust shield is going to work, and I can't test that because I threw these out. So if you do need to modify them on your car, this might help. Sick. So the detail gets pushed out the opposite way to the fold in, or the fins, or the wings, whatever you want to call it. So it's going down. I've gotten a socket that doesn't fit in, and then I've got a socket that just fits in, so it's nice and neat and snug. But as we flare this out, you'll then be able to get the bigger socket through. So this hole is drilled 14 mil. The goal of this is to make it so that fits through there, which it currently does not. We're pushing down through, that just fits, that does not fit. Just fits into socket. started. Now the bigger one fits in, but the final one doesn't. A little bit more, and you can move it around the lower socket so you can get the detail pressed in all the way around concentrically. Slowly getting there, and we're not quite through. Is that the biggest one? Doesn't fit. Does fit. So a little bit more with this one. Now the big one fits. Oh, that does fit. Woo! So we've got it flared out enough, but it doesn't look as neat as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to flare it out just a little bit more. So loose, tight, back in the socket. Another couple of taps. Now we are loose, but what we can do now, I've got a piece of angle that comes in on the inside of the wings. So we can place that flat. We're going to get another socket that's fairly big that we can now line up over the top. And we can flatten it out. So now we have something that is nice and tight, that fits really nice and neatly, and now we can fold up what we need to fold up. Sick. Hopefully that kind of explains it, and hopefully that can help you form metal in the future with one of your projects. Done a little modification to the back of them. Put it behind the t-shirt, yeah. So I've put it up and mocked it up, and they sit right around here. So I've cut away the excess. I'm going to panel beat these so they conform to the shape of the M140i dust shield. Should look a little nicer. Formed it so it is sitting nice and neatly around the shape of the dust shield. So I get the angle. Ooh. I've drilled the hole out, and I'm just going to rivet, get them painted first and then rivet them together. Or should I paint them together? I'm gonna go ask the crash shop. Dust shields. I spent way too much time on these, but they look real good. I'm going to install them off camera because it's a really awkward spot to film. Let's get these on and just finish up this brake conversion. Howdy, I'm Office Lewis, and this episode finally has a sponsor. Me. Well, a mixture of Workshop Lewis and me. We finally have our first product, the brake caliper brackets, along with the lines, the dust shield spacers that then allow you to use the factory handbrake, and then all the bolts associated with it. So all you need to do is supply your own calipers and your own rotors, get this kit, and you should be able to bolt it all up. If you have any questions or you're not sure, shoot me a message first and we'll discuss what you have for your setup and whether or not this will work for you. Now, on the whole brake kit situation, I do also have E92 or E90 brake master cylinder adapters. So if you can't fit your reservoir on top, you can now remote mount your reservoir, which is 2-6 fittings to a reservoir somewhere else with brake lines. I'm going to be selling them in the raw billet and then black anodized. I'm not giving you too many options. If you really want a colored one, let me know and I'll see what I can do beforehand. But it is just going to be those two colors, and it is going to be the same thing for the caliper brackets. Raw billet or anodized black. And yes, the same thing, black lines. If you really want something very specific, shoot me a message on the merch store and let me know. And while you're there, you can think about getting a t-shirt or a crab car t-shirt or something else. I just realized I forgot to say that on the site, everything's going up as a pre-order for a month. It is the 28th, so the pre-order will finish 28th of the next month, 28th of October. There is going to be a discount provided as well for the pre-order. So the full kit for the caliper bracket, lines and everything is going to be $660 to start off with, and at the end of the pre-sale will be going up to $740. This is AUD as well. The booster adapter is going to be $220 first off, and then after the pre-order is finished is going up to $250. Again, AUD. I will be doing a clearance template for the caliper bracket. So if you really want to run 17s and you really want to run this setup, shoot me a message and I'll fast track the brake clearance template for you and send it directly to you. If you're in South Australia and you have a fully E30 rear set up and you're looking at doing this, let me know, because we'll test fit it on your car first, confirm it works, and then I can confirm it works for everyone else. Thanks. All right. It's really difficult to show down here, but we've got the brake line hooked up to the hard line using that bracket. We've got the custom dust shield all attached. That is it. That is rear brake sorted. So I've still got to do the stainless steel line to the hard line, and I'm going to redo all of the hard lines anyway. The diff is still looking good. That side is still looking sick. The underbody is looking pretty average, but I mean, I'm not allowed to do anything to that really just yet for engineering purposes. But that is the brakes sorted. And now to the update that I've been putting off. The video that you've watched just now was filmed like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been waiting to make it so I can process a little bit more. Firstly, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched the video, everyone who commented, everyone who showed some kind of support, the people who messaged me through Messenger. It helped a lot, and I really appreciate it. You will see the Toyota Camry in a episode very soon, I would say. I am going to do the Trade Up series. I'll do some basic maintenance on the car that I knew I needed to do already, and then that'll be one video. The next video will be trading the car, getting the new one, assessing, fixing, and that'll be the entire episode. And then we'll just keep trading up until we've got something that I really want to keep. I know a lot of people suggested keeping the car and fixing it up. I always wanted to buy my mum a different car, and I remember buying my mum a fridge once, and it suited the apartment she was in, and she moved, and the fridge no longer suited her, and she couldn't get rid of the fridge. And I remember telling my mum, you can't be sentimentally attached to a fridge. Now, fair enough, if the Camry was a car that she'd like bought specifically and loved it, she just drove the car. So there wasn't any attachment to it. And I don't feel like I have any attachment to it either. So I am just going to trade it up. And I did get a couple of people saying, if you're going to do a trade up series, make sure it's really honest. Don't try and cheat your way through it. I think given the circumstances, there won't be any cheating. We'll set the rules, and that's what's going to happen. So thank you again to everyone who commented and everyone who showed me some support. Keep lifting rocks, keep finding crabs, and thank you very much. Cheers.